Places where, you fell to hold now. Let's walk it slow real quick. Okay, walk it slow quick. Okay, how about that? It's almost 3 hours expired. Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. Okay, so for I know that he will command his children and his household after him. Oh, I sound like Urkel, Steve Urkel. Ooh. And y'all said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I shall do? Seeing Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him that he will command his children and his household, after him, and they shall keep the way of Yah to do justice and judgment, that Yah may bring upon Abram that which he hath spoken of him. Wow. Did you see that? For I know him that he will command his children and his household after him, that they shall keep the way of Yah. What is that? To do justice and judgment, and that Yah may bring upon Abram that which he has spoken of him. Right now, if you notice, I want to pull something else out here. Okay, the Most High in chapter 17, the Most High told Abraham, he said Abraham was 99, was 90 years old and 9. And Yah appeared to Abram, said to him, same thing he said to Israel in Exodus 19, I am the Almighty Yah, walk before me and be thou perfect. How would Abraham know what perfection is if he didn't have anything to measure it by? And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and I will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abraham fell on his face, and Yah talked to him, saying, okay. Okay. Now, this is what we read this earlier, but just to repeat it, just to kind of refresh you, right? This is my covenant which you shall keep between me and you and seed after me, right? You shall be circumcised. You shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and shall be a token of covenant between me and you, right? So the stranger that is not of thy seed was so. All the other nations that are not of his seed had to come under the covenant that the Most High made with Abraham. There's no other way around it. So when you go back to what the brother was just quoting, let's see. Hold on a second. Let me back up here. Okay, so he talked about all nations being blessed. So let's look at this one here. Verse 18 says, seeing that Abraham, Yah said, let's read verse 17. All right. Yah said, shall I hide from Abram that thing which I do? Seeing, okay, I read, that's what I just read, right? Abraham shall surely become a great nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed by him. Okay, so we read that part. Let's go back. Okay. Let's go to 22. All right. 22 says that in blessing I will bless thee, and multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven and as sand which is upon the seashore, and thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. How about that? So Abraham, it says here, Abraham obeyed the Most High's voice. So Abraham believed means obeying the voice of Yah. right? And if that don't cut it, the cure-all verse, the one that we always use, is this one here. Genesis 26:4. I will make thy seeds multiply as the stars of heaven, and I will give unto thee thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Why? Why, brother preacher? Because that Abraham obeyed my voice. See that? And kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. How about that? Where was Moses? Where was the Mosaic law? Nowhere around, right? So we repeat these verses because this basically debunks that the law came through Moses. So that's the whole thing. You got to see that. And if you think the law came from Moses, then you don't know the book. All right. The law came, did I say through Moses? The law came through Moses, not from Moses. Big difference, right? All right, now, so let's let him continue. He goes to Hebrews now. Okay, Hebrews what?
For this cause, he is the mediator.
Okay, the mediator, right? So he's in Hebrews. Is that 9? Right, 9 and 15. All right, Hebrews 9:15. All right.
The New Testament, that by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, they which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. Listen,
now, so that verse does not say we're in the new covenant, does it? It says Yahshua is the mediator. There's no argument with that at all. Yahshua's blood is the blood of the new covenant, right? Yahshua is the mediator of the new covenant, right? He told you when the new covenant was going to come. When the first time when he said, this is the new covenant, this is the blood of the new covenant, he said, I will not do this with you again until we come into the kingdom. Letting you know, hey, this is a precursor. We're not there yet, right? All right. Now, here we see the same thing that he says what? That Yahshua is the mediator, right? What's that word for mediator? He is the go-between, the internunciator, or the implicator, reconciler. How about that? How about that? He is the reconciler. Yahshua is the reconciler of the new covenant. There's no questions about that at all. Right? But nowhere does the verse say that we're in the new covenant. Nowhere does it say, oh, by his death, when he died, we're going straight to the New Testament. That's not what it says. Nowhere. You can't find it on any page. And my brother is expressing himself as if he's convinced that we're in the new covenant when that text doesn't do it. It's not saying. It said Yahshua is the mediator of the new. Let me read it the way where it is. This cause he is the mediator of the new, or actually the renewed to what? The order of the priest of Malach Sadak, which is what the Most High originally called the nation of Israel to be. The new, that by means of death, right, what did the death do? For redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, right? They which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. How about that? So there's a lot in that, right? So somebody said, brother, please amplify that, because please put it where the ghosts can get it. Okay, so we'll do that, all right, for the next 3 minutes, all right? And I think that might be the last verse he used. Let's see. Okay, let's see. All right. Yeshua is the mediator of the renewed. Okay, that's diathety disposition contract, the renewed. So Yeshua is the mediator of the renewed contract with the house of Israel and the house of Yehuda, which comes through what? Abraham, who had a specific contract, right? But it was to be carried out through the priesthood, the kingdom of priests, that got forfeited once they said, we'll hear Moses, don't speak to us, we'll hear Moses, right? Okay, let's continue. That by means of death for redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, they which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. Now, there's a couple ways you can look at this. Who is to die? Is that solely Yeshua by means of Yeshua's death? Right? That first part is right, because through his death, his blood is the New Testament, is the blood of the New Testament, which is what? The renewed testament, which is what? The renewal back to the Malak Sadat order, which is what the Most High called the nation to originally. So by Yeshua's death, that brings you back to that place of priesthood and kings, right? In preparation to rule the earth for 1,000 years with the Messiah. The second part of that is death in you. Because not only did he have to die, but you got to die to the flesh, right? And guess what? You have to die to what? To this mortal body, whether it be through death or whether it be through being changed into an immortal body. So you got that word death is dealing with a threefold explanation. It's dealing with the death of the Messiah. It's dealing with the death of you, your flesh, dying to spirit to obey Yah. And it deals with the death of your physical, natural body being changed in the moment, in the twinkling of an eye, to have a body that's not subject to decay, to where you will live in the renewed state, to where the law will be written in your heart and mind, and where you will be the priesthood to rule the nations with the Messiah for 1,000 years. Does that make sense now? Now, I know that was kind of heavy. I know you don't get that in Sunday school. And so let's play this part back, reverse it back, play it over till you get it in your spirit. So Yeshua's death, right? You die to the flesh, right? And you physically die and get your new body. And now that's threefold of that meaning of that verse there, right? Literal of it is Yeshua's death. Secondly, your death, being follower of the Messiah. That's what Shaul said. He said, be ye followers of me, right? As I am of the Messiah. What did the Messiah do? He humbled himself, right? Okay. All right. Now, so we got that part right. Let's continue. By means of death for redemption, right? So Yeshua's death redeemed us, right, from the curse. What curse? Right? All under sin. The wages of sin is death. So we got what? Through his blood, we got a clean slate. That's the renewal. Oh, and that's wonderful, isn't it? So the purpose of Yahshua coming was more than him just coming to die for the sins of the world, but for reconciliation, right? Through redemption, right? Of the transgressions, right? So for he died to redeem, what's that word for redeem, right? The ransom, riddance, or it says that got Christian salvation. How about that? All right. I ain't gonna fool with y'all on that one. Let's redeem. Where was I at here? Redemption of the transgressions. What is that? Violation. There you go. See? He's breaking it down. So Yahshua's death redeemed us from the violations, right? That were under the first, right? Foremost contract, right? Okay. Now, that's interesting. What's the first contract? It's the first contract wasn't in the nation of Israel, right? What's the first contract? Abraham. The first testament, right? Or so like I said, that word contract, covenant, testament, right? First testament, which they are called, might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. So let me see. Let me correct myself here. Let me think about this now. Just got hot all of a sudden. Just rising. The first covenant let me think on that for a second. Hold on for a second. Let me think on that for a second. By means of death for the redemption of the transgression that were of the transgressions. You got all these added words in there that were, okay, added by the translators. Under the first testament, they which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. Okay, so on the basis of that, I had to correct myself. That's talking about what we read in Exodus 19. Okay, because that was the first covenant that he made that they broke. They which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. Got it. There it is. So, thank you, Ruach. This is saying that through Yahshua's death, he redeemed those who was called to the priesthood in Exodus 19, right? That they who were called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. So that goes back to Exodus 19 and verse, is it 5? If you obey my voice indeed. Let's flip back there so now we can see what this is talking about. All right. So Exodus 19. Is it 5? Right. If you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for the earth is mine. See that? So that's what Hebrews is talking about. Hebrews 9. Now go back to Hebrews 9 with that in mind. Now you can see now what Hebrews 9 is making reference to. All right. As soon as I can find it. Was it 15? For this cause he is the mediator of the New Testament. And who's the New Testament with? The house of Israel and the house of Yehudah. That he by means of death for redemption of the transgression that were under the first testament, Exodus 19 and 5, we just read, they which were called might receive the promise of the eternal inheritance. So it's going all the way back to fulfill Abraham's promise through his seed, his natural seed that would do what? Make him the father of many nations under what? The one nation. Oh man, that's good right there. That's good right there. Let's go. Let's continue.
On and on. Ephesians 2 talks about that we're saved by grace through faith, not of works. That
saved by grace through faith. Let's look at that real quick. Saved for by grace. That's not how it says. For by grace are you saved. Ephesians 2 and 8. All right. For by grace are you saved. Right. Didn't just say. Now notice what he didn't say. He doesn't say you're saved by grace alone, right? Nope. He says, for by grace are you saved through faith, which has a corresponding, or faith which has works. And that not of yourselves, it is a gift of Yah. Right. Okay, I know you're gonna read the next verse. So let's zoom back in.
Ourselves, it's the gift of God, lest any man should boast. Galatians 5 and 4. Christ is become.
Okay, so if you continue reading, you'll see, for we are His workmanship, created in the Messiah unto good works. That's an oxymoron, right? So not of works. It says, "Saved for by grace are you saved through faith," right? And that not of yourself. It is the gift of Yah, not of works. Oh, not of works, right? Oh, okay. Oh, we don't have to work. Okay, now watch this. Now watch this. He gonna flip it, right? But we're created, for we are His workmanship, created in the Messiah Yahshua unto good works. Oh, good works, huh? Which Yah have before ordained that we should walk in them. Oh, so how is that we're not saved by works, but yet we have to walk in the works? But the brother didn't read that verse. He just read this verse right here. For by grace are you saved, that not of yourself is a gift of God. Stop. Bam. Close the book and go home. No, brother, keep reading. But he says, but unto good works, which Yah have ordained that you should walk in them. So you're walking in the good works. What's the good works, brother? All right. So we're using his verses to explain how what he has, his diagnostics of what he read is wrong because he didn't continue reading. All right. So now where else is he going now?
Of no effect unto you, soever you are, who are justified by the law. Notice what Paul.
Let me see. No effect. Okay, that's Galatians 5 and 4. Okay. Christ is become, I'm gonna read just the way he said it, is become of no effect unto you, whosoever of you are justified by the law, you are fallen from grace. Okay. Now this one here, he's talking about circumcision, right? Okay, so they're basically on this particular subject. Circumcision is the subject that he's attacking, right? So basically, he's telling them that if you be circumcised, right? Because that's what the subject is about, circumcision. If you be circumcised, the Messiah shall profit you nothing. There's a couple ways you can demonize Paul, or you can try to look at the law and see what he's attempting to what he is saying, what he's attempting to communicate. Okay, so what is he attempting to communicate when he's talking about circumcision? Okay, without reading the whole chapter. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so if we read the whole chapter, we'll see. He starts off by saying, "Stand therefore in the liberty wherewith the Messiah hath made you free, and be not entangled with the yoke of bondage. Behold, I Paul say unto you," I'm gonna read just the way it is. That if you be circumcised, Christ shall profit you nothing. I'm gonna read it just the way it is. Okay. "For I testify again to every man that is circumcised that he is a debtor to do the whole law." Right? True. "Christ has become of none effect to you, whoever of you are justified by the law, you are fallen from grace." Okay. For we through the Spirit wait for the hope of the righteousness by faith. Right? Okay. So now he takes a turn and he's saying, okay, so we're not seeking for the to be justified by circumcision of the flesh, but he's saying, for we through the Spirit wait for hope of the righteousness by faith. Oh, so the circumcision, although it is a requirement, I don't think he's saying it's not a requirement, but he's saying if your dependence upon your salvation is based on circumcision, then he said that the Messiah has become of no effect to you. That's all he's saying, right? That's one way of looking at it, right? Okay. Let's continue. For we through the Spirit wait for the hope of the righteousness by faith, right? We also be waiting for righteousness by faith, which is what? Obeying Yah. Faith is obeying Yah. So when you say faith, you're just saying obedience to Yah's law, statutes, commandments. That's all you're saying. Righteousness by faith. For in the Messiah, neither circumcision availeth anything, nor uncircumcision, but faith which worketh by love. Okay. Right. Because circumcision is not physical circumcision is not your salvation. It is a part of the covenant, right? But it don't make you saved, because you can be circumcised and not be obedient to Yah's law, statutes, commandments. That's a given, right? You did run well. Who didn't hinder you that you should not obey the truth? So now he goes and says, oh, obey the truth. Obey what truth? This persuasion come not of him that calleth you, right? But you need me? Oh. This persuasion come not of him that called you. A little leaven, the whole lump. I have confidence in you through Messiah that you will not otherwise be minded, but that he that trouble you shall bear his judgment, whoever he be. And I, brethren, if I yet preach circumcision, why do I yet suffer persecution? Right? Then is the offense of the cross ceased? I would they were even cut off which trouble you. For brethren, you have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another. Okay? For all the law is fulfilled in one word, even this: thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. But if you bite and devour one another, take heed that you be consumed one of another.